Welcome, fellow doggers, friends, and fans, to another edition of Off the Hook here on BigDawg Music Radio, produced and directed by Lisa Day. Each week we like to get together and spin some fabulous tunes by the very talented artists at BigDawgMusicMafia.com and get to know one of our fantastic culture warriors who will be joining us in about 15 minutes. If you'd like to be a part of tonight's show, you can call us at 347-838-8898, or you can hit the little Skype button at the top of our player at our blog talk radio station, BigDawg Music Radio. So we hope that you're at home, relaxed, with your boots kicked off, sitting in your favorite chair, with your favorite person, and your favorite beverage, and we hope that you'll enjoy the show. I'm your host, Lisa May. And welcome to our show. It is Saturday night, and we're real glad to see you all here, all of our friends in the chat room. And Boyd says that he is here so we can start the show. Thank God for that. Anyways, tonight we're going to be having the great pleasure of chatting with a very, very fascinating man, actually Reverend Kenn Blanchard, who is an author. He is a public speaker, a gun rights activist. He is a Marine Corps veteran, hoorah. He is also a singer, a public speaker, and an ordained Christian pastor. The man has done pretty much everything. He's been around the world, speaks a few different languages, but we will get to hear all about that when Reverend Blanchard joins us at 1:15. And seeing as how today is the day after Valentine's Day, we want to wish all of you a belated Happy Valentine's Day. We hope that you got to spend it with someone that you enjoy being around, and even if it's not a someone, but a favorite four-legged family member, we hope that you had an enjoyable day. And anyways, so in light of that, there happens to be a song that I absolutely adore that Mr. Neil Fox wrote for his lovely bride of 20 plus years, and the song is called You. And so we're going to go ahead and play that song as our Valentine's Day tribute.
Sun in the sky, you make the gleam in my eye. One look and I go to pieces. Reality ceases its meaning. You steal the heat from the fire. You fill my heart with desire. Your soul, the color of roses, the moonlight exposes the perfect you. It's all because of you. It's all because of you. You pluck the strings in my heart. You smile
And that absolutely beautiful song was Mr. Neil Fox with You. It really reminds me of I don't know, a John Lennon style of ballad, and just love that song. Couldn't hear it enough yesterday. Anyways, so let's go past all that lovey-dovey, mushy stuff and get right to our birthdays, our Big Dog birthdays. We have today Mr. Jim Norconk and Ms. Sheba Beck celebrating their birthday. And tomorrow we have Barb J., we have Christopher Schreiner, Eddie Maiden, and Katie Vandevoord. So happy birthday to all of our fellow Big Doggers out there. And, we've got CPAC coming up for those of you who don't know yet. And we actually finally have our logo, our Big Dawg Music Radio logo, on the CPAC 2014 website. If you just go to cpac.org and go to the sponsor page, you will see us. You will see our logo there. And we are very proud of the team that we are bringing with us this year. We have on Radio Row in the mornings from 7 to 10 a.m. at the Radio Row. We have Mr. Rymar Tirado from rymar.com. That's RAYMMAR.com. And we have Mr. John Publicover, and he is the president and co-founder of ProjectRedleaf.com. We are very excited about what they will bring to our broadcast at Big Dawg Music Radio. And in the hub from 11 a.m. till 4 p.m. Thursday and Friday, and then from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. on Saturday. The CPAC hub is basically where all the exhibitors will be down in the lower level of the Gaylord National Harbor Hotel in Maryland. And they've set it up differently this year. They're going to have a big section where there'll be couches, lounge chairs, whatever, for people just to take a load off, relax, and enjoy some music. And they're going to have a stage set up for us, for the artists from BigDawgMusicMafia.com. We will have Mr. Chris Ross, Mr. Chip Murray, Mr. Buck Allen, Mr. Michael Marino, who is the frontman for Chloe's Open Socket. We will have Chris Cassone, and he might be bringing a fellow guitarist with him. And then the lovely Ms. Anna Mix and her wonderful husband John, and Ms. Anne-Marie Harpin, Mr. Ben Nanke, and as of today, Mr. Michael Antonio Luckett from Las Vegas. And actually, he said he's in Florida right now, so not sure exactly where, but he's pretty excited about joining our team. So we are definitely going to be well represented at Big Dawg, or at CPAC 2014. We will be getting a page put together with all of the artists who will be performing, as well as our wonderful radio team. And we'll have that over at BigDawgMusicRadio.com on a special CPAC 2014 page, which will be linked to the CPAC online directory. And so let's see, before we are joined by the very fascinating Reverend Kenn Blanchard, just want to do a quick rundown of our shows. Tomorrow morning, Salt and Light from the Right. That is our 30-minute show at 8 a.m. Eastern, where we like to share some inspirational music by the artists at BigDawgMusicMafia.com, as well as some readings from a book that they're basically letters from the Father's heart, where they take scripture and turn them into layman's terms and put it as if God is talking directly to us. So we enjoy sharing those every week. And then 9:30 a.m. we switch it up and go from the inspirational show to the wacky and crazy show, Today in News Sunday Morning Funhouse show. We never know what to expect out of Mr. Trade Martin and Mr. Jimmy J, and they have a tendency of getting phone calls from Barack Obama. Jimmy just loves those Barack calls. I told him that we were going to do a best of show and just have nothing but back-to-back phone calls or phone messages from Barack Obama. And then on Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, we have Wednesday at Midnight with Mr. Trade Martin. This is his more serious show where he likes to do a quick 30-minute roundup of the hot news items of the week. So be sure to tune in then. And then, of course, next Saturday, right here, same place, same time, Off the Hook and Afterburner. We do not yet have our guest confirmed, but when we do, we will be sure to let you all know. And a quick shout out to our sister stations, part of our Con Air Radio Network. We have our friends at FTR Radio, Traditional American Movement, Ghost Fighter Radio, Free Zone Media Center, Right Stream Radio Network, We Built That Network, and our artistic friends at Liberachic.com. And we're going to go ahead and just play a real quick promo, and we're going to go ahead and bring on our guest, the fascinating Reverend Blanchard, in just a minute.
Hi, this is Gabe. My papa always says stay on the right side of the street, so I think I'll start with BigDawg Music Radio.
All right. And without further ado, we are very excited tonight to welcome Reverend Kenn Blanchard. He is internationally known as Black Man with a Gun. He is a Marine Corps veteran and author, a firearms expert and gun rights activist, a radio host, public speaker, media expert, singer, and you'll get to hear one of his songs shortly, and ordained Christian pastor. Welcome to our show, Reverend Blanchard.
Thank you, Sister Lisa, for having me on.
Oh, it's a pleasure. Wow, I love your voice. You have such a great radio voice. Oh, gosh.
Oh, stop it.
Oh, stop. Well, it's no wonder that you're doing radio. You definitely have, you've got that going for you. Not to mention, gosh, I don't even know where to start. There's so many aspects of you. I guess we could start, let's start with the big news that you are, that you have a brand new book out. Tell us about that.
The brand new book is called Black Man with a Gun, Reloaded. It's out on Amazon in both Kindle and in print, and it's a mixture of my life, my failures, my triumphs, and what I've been doing for the last 20 years as this guy called the Black Man with a Gun. And there's some personal stories that make you laugh, make you cry, make you go, oh, I didn't know that guy was in the back of that too. So it's all that in 190 pages.
Fantastic. Now, is this, you did say this is a sequel, not a sequel, but a follow-on to the first book that you wrote?
Yeah, the first one was really an experiment. I always wanted to be a writer. I had two dreams. I wanted to be a writer and a broadcaster. And the broadcasting thing started from me being a kid talking and narrating my comic books in my house, and my dad saying, boy, get out of this house. That's not a real job. So it kind of took me a while, like a long time before I actually got behind the microphone. But the writing part, I've always wanted to write. And in the, right around Y2K, when everybody was thinking about the world ending and computer crashing, I was writing this book and trying not to get myself in trouble. The government wasn't looking too friendly on me moonlighting, so I had to leave a lot of details out. And I was still learning a lot. So the first book was just about gun rights and about firearms for the most part, and a little bit of history. This one, I've managed to color in the details. But you may not have known that while I was writing the book, I was also the evening janitor at a church, and was about to get called into ministry. At the same time, I was trying to become an entrepreneur, and I was a new father, and I had all this stuff going on at the same time, and the world was changing, and I was changing, and that's in a new book that wasn't in the first.
Fantastic. I can't wait to read it. Now, are you going to be doing some book signings in the very near future?
Yes, thanks to some very special people, I will be at CPAC now, and that just came out of, that was like amazing when it happened. So I'll be doing my first book signing at the CPAC and hope to see everybody there.
Fantastic. So excited. I mean, excited that for you that you're getting to do this. I mean, what a great place to launch your book signing tour. And I just know that people are going to absolutely love you and everything that you stand for. I saw an article when I was Googling looking for a picture to use for the graphic. I don't know if you're able to, or if you're watching the video feed of this, but I have a graphic up of you, one where you're in a radio studio and the other with your book cover. But as I was Googling looking for images, I found an article, I think it was the Washington Times, and there's a picture of you wearing a pastor, I'm not sure what you call it, pastor shirt, or what's the proper name for a pastor's shirt with a little white thing in the middle? I can't, I don't even know what it's called. But you're standing there and you're holding a Bible in one hand and a gun in the other with your arms crossed, and it says something about God and guns, and I thought that is just too cool. That is awesome. Tell us,
that one.
Yeah, tell us about that.
That was a rough time.
Oh, no.
I had managed to I had just become a minister at this church, and I was like the junior minister. There was about 15 other ministers in the crew, and folks were kind of leery of me because I rode a Harley to church sometimes, and
I love it.
I had started off as the janitor, and now all of a sudden the janitor was now on the ministerial staff, and there was a whole bunch of people who had treated the janitor kind of with some slight. They thought I was just a transient person, and now I was next to the pastor. Wow. So that kind of gave him a little edge. It was a little weird. I was kind of the cupbearer all of a sudden, and I was somewhere, and this reporter popped up and said, "I heard that you're a minister." And I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Can you tell me your story?" And the next thing I know, he was writing like a fiend.
Sure.
And I remember telling my pastor that I'm going to be in the paper soon. And he said, "Oh, you were interviewed?" And I said, "Yeah, but I don't think it'll ever come to light. No, it's just talking about guns and God." And the reporter calls me back and he says, "I need something to make this story pop. Can I come to your house and take a photo?"
Oh, wow.
And I said, "Sure, man, come on over." So he said, what do you think we should do?" I said, "Well, I just grabbed my 1611 and my 1911. And he said, 1611? I said, "Yeah, my King James version of the Holy Word." And he go, "Oh, man, that's going to start some stuff." And I said, "Oh, I know. I'm used to it.
Oh,
Let's rock it."
That is just too cool. I mean, what a story. I mean, but what a testimony. You said that you started out as a kid narrating your own comic book, so I'm assuming you're also an artist on top of everything else?
Yeah, I managed to go through school leaving a trail of murals in high school, junior high school. Whenever there was a contest for artwork, my stuff was there.
Oh,
and
that's awesome.
I come from a family of athletes, and I was a little slow to reach my peak. So I remember my dad, I think, before Vietnam, was about to get drafted into a baseball league somewhere. My mother was a star basketball player when she was in high school.
Wow.
And when I was in high school, I couldn't get on a team to save my life. I was uncoordinated, but I could draw. I could draw. I could do portraits, and I was a shy kid, so I would sit there and read and study and just put everything to pen. And in my household, that was not the most masculine thing to do in the world. So I had some internal issues of just families that don't know how to talk to kids. For the most part, I had a little bit of abuse in there, and I was doubting my own masculinity and thought that I was inferior, and I had a problem. There's quite a few cousins. I have a cousin that made it to the NBA. I had a cousin that made it to the NFL, and
wow.
Athletes were just there. So when I enlisted in the Marine Corps, my family said, "He's going to die. There's no way in the world he's going to survive."
He's going to die.
That boy got allergies. He can't survive. He should have went into another branch or something. And I remember my mother is pouring down raining, and the recruiters are taking me away, and she's hollering out the door, "Bring him back. He has allergies." And I thought, man, this is bad. This is not a good start to my manlyhood.
Oh, my God. That is too funny. Wow. You're thinking, Mom, hush. Don't say that.
I know, right? You're killing me. You're killing me.
Well,
But I got the book.
I was just gonna
Go right
say,
ahead.
I was just gonna say, I can't think of a better segue to follow that story than to play this next song. Now, I don't know if you, I don't know if you can hear the music because you're dialed in to BTR, and we're using a kind of a different setup to play the music through our Flash Media encoder, so I'm not sure if you can hear the song, but we're going to play your rendition, your fabulous rendition of I'm a Man. And we will be right back.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Everything gonna be alright this morning. Oh yeah. Woo! Now when I was a young boy, at the age of 5, my mama told me, you're gonna be the greatest man alive. But now I'm a man, way past 21. Want you to believe me, baby. I'm a black man with a gun. I'm a man. I spell him A-child. And that represents Maine. No B. Oh, child. Why? That means manish, boy. I'm a man. I'm a full-grown man. I'm a man. I'm a natural-born lover's man. I'm a man. I'm a rolling stone. I'm a man. I'm your hoochie coochie man. Sitting on the outside, just me and my date. You gonna make the moon, honey. Come up 2 hours late. Ain't that a man? I spell him A-child. And that represents man. No B. Oh, child. Why? That means manish boy. I'm a man. I'm a full-grown lover's man. I'm a man. I'm a rolling stone. I'm a man. I'm your hoochie coochie man. I'm a man. I'm your black man.
So, gentlemen, this concludes our business for today. I want to thank you for coming. Now, if you'd be so kind as to rejoin the party outside, I'll join you myself in a few minutes. But first, I want to speak with my consigliere privately.
Thank you.
Tom, did you look into the matter we discussed and make all inquiries?
Yes, Pop, I did.
And tell me, what is this BigDawg Mafia?
No, Pop. It's called BigDawg Music Mafia, and it's an internet website. It's really called BigDawgMusicMafia.com.
Que cosa questo?
You don't have to be concerned about this, Pop. In fact, you're gonna like it. You see, Pop, it's an internet gathering place for conservative artists. You know, musicians, comedians, filmmakers, painters, photographers, all kinds of artists. People who have traditional ideals and values about America and They want to share their talents with each other and the public at large. And as you know, Pop, there's not much representation for those kinds of values in the mainstream media.
The mainstream media. They're a bunch of pasavantes and pimps. Alright, this is my decision. As long as their interests don't interfere with our business, then they're free to operate in all our territories. And maybe someday, and that day may never come, mind you, but someday I may call upon them to do a small service for me.
But Pop, they have absolutely no affiliation with us. How are you going to get them to do us a service?
I'll make them an offer they can't refuse.
BigDawgMusicMafia.com, the internet home for conservative artists. Remember, dog is spelled D-A-W-G because, ladies and gentlemen, they are just that cool.
And that was that promo was Mr. Tom Balistreri, but before that, that was Mr. Kenn or Reverend Kenn Blanchard with his awesome version of "I'm a Man." So, how long have you been singing, and why don't we have more of your music?
Believe it or not, I've only been singing probably the last 3 years.
No
way. It was just something that, again, something I wanted to do, and nobody ever said, you know, you can sing. So that and learning how to play the guitar have been on my list. So I kind of ran into the blues, fell in love with the blues, and all those old guys, the Muddy Waters, the Chuck Berrys, the Howlin' Wolves, all the guys who have the same tenor, or that I can get down and raspy with. I'm having a ball with it, and I kind of experimented on my podcast, and my folks are like, "I thought this was a gun show, man. You're singing some crazy stuff."
Oh,
and I said, "But is it bad?" And they're like, "No, it's not that bad. It's just you don't try to do Michael Jackson, but you just keep on. You might get there."
Oh, what do you mean it's not that bad? Are you kidding? That was awesome. Wow.
Oh, thanks.
Well, see, the people that are listening to your show are people listening for gun types of information. They're not. They don't know good music when they hear it. So the people that are listening to this show are listening for the talent, and you definitely got. Boy, when God was handing out talent, He just gave you a whole bucket load, and not only that, but I mean, gosh, I don't even know where to start with everything that you do. You speak. So I find it fascinating, coming from a linguist background myself in the military, that you also speak Brazilian and Portuguese and a little Spanish, a working knowledge of Spanish. Was that something you learned on the job while you were in the Marine Corps, or for your follow-on career?
It was on the job in the Marine Corps. I had tried to learn Spanish before leaving high school, and had done a pretty good job with it. But it was not. I didn't know I had a talent for languages until I left the country. Somehow, I call it one of those gifts from God, that the most powerful thing you can do in the world is to communicate. If you can communicate, you can eat, you can sleep well,
yes.
You can have a good time with people. You can have a good relationship with a woman if you can talk to her. Married men, pay attention. And I learned that I had a gift of listening, and I would end up taking the accent of the teacher, whoever taught me. I was a parrot for languages. So I've been in 15 different countries,
wow.
And wherever I go, I usually pick up words. The longer I'm there, after a while, they'll say, "How long have you been here? Because you don't sound like a foreigner." And it's like, I'm still an American. I'm just different. That's all. And I kind of use it for survival. And I was in Brazil the longest. I spent 3 years there. So my language skills got pretty fluent. And But wherever I'm longer than a few weeks, whether it be Mississippi or New Hampshire, my diction will change.
Yeah, that's funny. And I find, so that's fascinating because I find the same thing happens to me. I've traveled quite a bit. And fellow linguists. I mean, and I also find it interesting the correlation between people who are musically inclined, that they also have the ability to learn languages. So it's one of those left brain kind of things, I guess. But yeah,
yes.
that's awesome. So you've had quite an interesting career while you were with the agency. You served as the first African American member of the Director of Central Intelligence Protective Staff and Firearms Instructors. Tell us a little bit about that.
It wasn't intentional. It's just when I first came into the agency, I was straight out of the Marine Corps, so everything I did was by the book, and I was pretty Spartan in a whole bunch of stuff. So I got in trouble a lot because I didn't have any gray area. You belonged there or you didn't.
Right.
And I would chuck people out the door, and I would rough handle people, diplomats. It didn't matter who you were. And my notoriety got me put on the front door. And one day the director came through, and he said, we might have a spot for you upstairs. We'll just check on that. And the next thing I know, I was actually in his house protecting his wife. And
wow.
That's again where I learned that I wasn't just a knuckle dragger. I was the guy that you could trust with your family.
Awesome.
So that became my thing. They would, you could have a guy with 900 firearms on him and a bulletproof vest, and he's got the earpiece and all that stuff, but you might not want him around your kids. And I was the guy that you could trust with your kids. I'd be the butler. I'd be the driver. I'm the guy pushing the grocery cart for the director's wife.
Oh, wow.
Trying not to look like I'm in the grocery store loaded for bear. I could go to war by myself. I had so much stuff on me. But the director's wife is asking me, Ken, do you want these chocolate-covered peanuts? And I'm trying not to be embarrassed because I've become her son. Somehow the whole thing has changed. But I was the guy that sat in their house for like 12 hours a day. And
wow. That's
it just became a thing.
So then from there you moved on to becoming part of the protection service for Director Casey Gates and Webster, as well as other diplomats. So did you enjoy doing that? Did you ever feel?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
No, I actually loved it. I'm like hardwired to protect. I didn't know it until I was in the ministry. That my whole life, being the oldest of two sisters, I got two sisters. I'm the older brother, the oldest in the family, the man of the house for the most part when my dad left us. And when I went into the Marine Corps, I've done everything with a guard behind it. I mean, from safety guard, security guard, bodyguard, lifeguard, Boy Scout. It's always been to protect. And when I became a Marine, after I got out of the first couple of schools, I became an embassy guard. That's how I got to Brazil. And I've always been that guy that's outside the door, that trust, that you can, impart stuff to. And when the directors had me on their staff and we're traveling around the world, I had some good times because I was doing what most folks have to either study or, learn about. I mean, I had a sense to, all right, we're not home now, so let's make sure that, I would do little stuff like I'd make sure I run behind people who were new on my team and say, make sure you didn't drink the water or use it, those ice cubes or gargle with this stuff because we're not home right now. Mm-hmm. And those who listened to me made it home without having, sick stomach.
Right. Right.
I was both nursemaid and protector. It was just, even in boot camp, after I got to basic training in the Marines, and everybody had imparted to me how much I was gonna not make it. My first night in boot camp, I watched people, implode, and I thought, man, this isn't tough. My home was worse than this, and then I became that guy that you could come to in the middle of the night and sit on my bunk and tell me about your wife and your problems at home and I became like this peer counselor guy, even in basic training. I was that pastor role, that minister thing, kind of was put on me early, but I didn't really know it. The confidant guy. I was the guy that in a foxhole, you're gonna say, "Yo, dude, I know you go to church. Will you pray for me?" I was that guy.
Wow. Gosh, I was I would imagine you became very popular with pretty much everybody that you came in contact with, every organization you worked for, every group that you became a part of. Speaking of groups, now you've got a social networking group. Tell us about that. I think it's Freedom Network or something like that. Tell us a little bit about that.
I'm always experimenting, always trying to find new ways to connect to people, and I found a way. It's kind of like BigDawg Radio. It's just like you guys, where I just created a smaller Facebook site, that just in case Facebook kicked out of all the gun people,
right,
or all the people who listen to me, we have our own little shop where they can promote their own stuff and share things. I call it Freedom's Network. It was paid for at a time when I had more money, so hopefully I can keep that thing going.
Yeah.
But it was just kind of trying to keep my tribe intact. That's all. I didn't know what I didn't know, and my go-to thing is, if I don't know what I'm doing tomorrow, I'm going to help somebody today. Awesome. That's like my go-to thing. If I can't figure out what is Kenn going to do tomorrow, I don't know. But who in my path? Who do I see that I can make smile, if nothing else, that I can make laugh today? Then I won't feel so bad when tomorrow comes.
Well, God bless you. I mean, if more people had your attitude and your generosity of spirit, I mean, gosh, this place would be such a more pleasant world to live in. But honestly, whenever we've interviewed the most of the artists and most of the authors and the filmmakers and all the culture warriors at our site, they all have that same thing in common, in that they love God, they trust God, and usually you can't. If you are a true believer, it's hard for you to be, a jerk. I mean, sure, we can all be jerks at times. I'm the first to admit that I can be quite the jerk. But it all comes back to our faith and remembering, and that's sometimes it takes someone to kick you and remind you that God is in control, even when you're going through those storms, even though going through those dark times. Tell me when, because you mentioned that you were going through some dark times, when you were talking about your book. What was it that pulled you out?
You named it. I've been here before. It's kind of like when you're working out in a gym, and today you can't lift the barbell. I mean, your arms are just done.
Right.
You can't bench press for nothing. But you remember last week I had my max up here, so maybe I just can't do it today. Tomorrow I'll be okay. And just something that simple. That's
a good way to think of it.
When I look, and you look back at your life, at all the stuff that's really happened to you, like really crappy. I mean, if you just want to line it up and have a really good pity party, write everything down that's happened to you, like really, really raunchy folks that were bad to you, nasty stuff, all the stuff that didn't work that you tried. Right. Go ahead and fill up a yellow sheet of paper, all that stuff down, and then when you get to the bottom, just put in the words, "But I'm still here."
Oh, I love that idea. I'm going to need more than one piece of paper, though.
but that's what I tell the enemy when I'm really feeling bad. You're making me almost want to preach. When I'm feeling really, really defeated and things are just really raunchy, and they say, "Well, the devil's on your trail, and the devil done this, and the evil is." And I was like, "Yeah, but I'm still here. I'm still standing."
Amen. You said we want you to preach, because I was going to ask you about that next. How did you become an ordained pastor? You know, what do you have to go through to become an ordained pastor? And do you? I think you have a website, a chapel. I forget where did I see that? BlanchardChapel.us.
Yeah, when I became a minister in the Baptist church, you usually have to do a trial sermon before the congregation, and the pastor kind of gives you a wink and a nod if you did okay, and he'll let you'll be a licentiate minister, and you can serve in that church. You can't preach out anywhere. You're like in a learning status. You're an apprentice, and you can stay there indefinitely, actually. Mm-hmm. And then a church has to call you, and this is the Baptist thing, has to be a purpose for you to be ordained. Mm-hmm. Well, when I became a minister, riding a Harley, being known as the bodyguard, the gun guy, mm-hmm. I caught the ire of a lot of ministers. They did not want to be anywhere around unless something was wrong. Somebody had a threat against them or there was some issue, then they'd call me in. Mm-hmm. But otherwise, I was not on a fast track to be anybody. So I started this church not really a church. I just started a group. I went out and became like a biker evangelist, street minister. Oh, I would help people at the gun range, at the hunters, the guys who had trouble at home and nobody to talk to, nobody they could trust. I became that guy. So I called that one In the Wilderness Ministries, and that thing kind of grew over the years. I even did a Carnival cruise ship trip with this In the Wilderness Ministries group of police officers, hunters, bikers. It was a ragtag group of people. So some of them weren't, church people at all. And eventually, I had to find a place to put them. I mean, we were like starting to grow, so we started meeting in my house. Mm-hmm. But I wasn't ordained, so I was kind of afraid. I didn't want to become a cult or something. I didn't have a covering of a pastor, and I hadn't been to seminary, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that I was having doubts. But I kind of forgot that it's God who calls you, not we ourselves. So in my fear, I went searching for a church that needed some help. And I thought if I found a church that needed some help, I could bring my 30 people that were kind of following me to that church. And I found the church. Didn't have a pastor. They were going through some stuff. They had chased the last 3 pastors away. I should have took that as a hint. But I stayed there for 7 years, and they called me the pastor and sent me to schooling, and I had a mentor who's still my pastor. I serve at his church now. And we did the ordination old school where I stood between him and a congregation and a whole panel of 20 other pastors for an oral exam in front of all these people on the Bible and church doctrine. And I was ordained there. And I pastored for 5 years and knew last year that my time was up, that I had done all I could do, and I was about to turn the chapter in my book and write another book. I was about to become probably a politician or something. That God wasn't done with me. I had to keep on moving to the next level. So I resigned from that church. Yeah. And I decided to take what I have been doing before and go online, because I have the Black Man with a Gun podcast that had been going for 5 years, and I was reaching people around the world. So I can do the same thing for Christ. So I decided to create this virtual church I call Blanchard Chapel. Nice. And it's just the same. It's the exact same as In the Wilderness Ministries. I created a website. I went down to a spot near my house, near the water, and I thought someday I'm going to have service, like sunrise service, on the beach with all the people. But until then, I open this post office box, and I'll come here and pray, and I'll come here and do some worship, and I'll go back, and every day, Monday through Friday, I give a 5 to 20-minute message to members of the unnamed church. So that's another podcast that I have, but it's connected to the Blanchard Chapel. The unnamed church is for all those who may be already a member of a church or don't have any affiliation but want to get closer to God. And I just kind of do it without marketing it, without SEO, nothing, just straight. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do it for the ethos, for the world, and whoever comes.
Wow.
And that's what that is.
That's fascinating. That's just, I mean, it's really awesome that you're doing that. And, what is the saying, build it and they will come, and God will provide. I mean, you're doing something that's, and the fact that you ride a Harley and that you talk about guns and you fight for gun rights and yet you're a godly man, those are all the qualities that we need in leaders. You mentioned politics. Those are the qualities we need in our government today, because our government has strayed so far away from what our founders intended, and to have somebody that's grounded in faith and understands our rights, understands our Constitution, and knows and is articulate like you are, and charismatic and can sing, because you got to tie the pop culture into it all. I mean, come on, Bill Clinton played a sax, big whoop. You can sing. So, are politics in your future? Because I did notice that in your bio that you talked about how you actually have testified before Congress in several states as well: Texas, South Carolina, Wisconsin, Michigan, Virginia, and Maryland, for individual right to self-defense. How did you feel being in there in front of Congress, and how did they treat you?
The very first time I spoke was in Richmond, and I was with the Law Enforcement Alliance of America. We were working with the Gun Owners of America and the National Rifle Association. We were trying to get concealed carry reform passed in Richmond, and I volunteered for this thing, and we went down there, and the NRA had this guy come into my room, and he says, "This is the speech we're going to write for you, and make sure you use all these points." And I said, "Dude, who talks like this?" and he says, "Well, we want to make sure that the senators and the representatives don't get off track, and we have these points we have to make." And I said, "Well, didn't you call me here?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Don't you want to hear what I have to say?"
Hey, man.
He goes, "Yeah, but don't you want to stick on?" And I was like, "No, I don't. I have my own." He goes, "Let me see your script." And I said, "I actually don't have it written. It's in my head." And he thought, "Oh, no, we don't do anything like that. This is very professionally done, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "Well, I'll just take a cab back home." And he says, okay, we're going to go on and look this over and don't let me down. I said, "Okay, no problem." Well, when I got to the podium and I looked the folks in the eye and I spoke from my heart. And when it was over, nobody said anything. So I thought, okay, I really screwed that up. Let me just find that cab. And so I left the podium, and the guy said, "Thank you, Mr. Blanchard, for your time." And I went to the hallway, and this lady from the NRA ran down the hallway. She goes, "Ken, do you see what just happened?" And I said, "No." What happened? She goes, "Nobody said anything. They didn't rebut you. They didn't comment. They didn't argue. They just listened." And I thought, "Is that good?" She was like, "That never happens." I was like,
awesome.
"Oh." So that was the beginning. And the next thing I know, I was in Texas, and I did like a kind of a whirlwind for about a year or two. And I watched politics, but I didn't like it. I didn't like that people were professional debaters. I mean, they might say, "Stop this," but at home they had the same thing going on. They were against firearms, but they hunted. They were not really true. And I thought, there's no way in the world I would ever be considered one of these people. I mean, I'm not like them. I say what I mean, and I mean what I say, and I'm not going to lie in public. And I thought,
go ahead.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, that's why we need people like you there.
I just stay on the outside. And then just recently, in the last 2 years, got a little older, and I was talking to some conservatives, because being the gun guy, I learned about the Constitution. I learned about Republicans and Libertarians, and I had no clue. I was like just a soldier. Just a Marine. I'm just a guy who protects. I'm never. But then I've kind of moved up from being the outside guy to the inside guy to the guy that you talk to, and I've seen people who make 6, 7, 8, 9 figures, and how their families are all messed up. But they make a lot of money, but their home lives are tore up.
Right.
That's all right. I don't want to be like them either. And this guy was talking to me. He says, it's that same quote that everybody says, that all it takes for evil to exist is for good men to do nothing. And I thought, oh, well, maybe I could run for a small office and just get into it and just kind of help where I can help. And man, when I said that, folks went crazy. So about a year ago, this guy called me in, senator from Maryland. He said, I want to meet you and your wife, take you out to dinner, because I want to talk to you all about something. So during our little conversation, he says, we want you to run for an office. Oh, I don't care what you do, dog catcher. You can do whatever you want, but just get in the system. And I said, I'll pray about it, talk to the missus. And we talked about it long and hard. And she goes, I think you're at a point where nobody can sway you, because there was a time, I guess God knows too, you can't have money. Everybody prays to be a rich person, but if you get it too early and you're not ready for it, you can self-destruct.
Sure.
I'm ready. I think I'm ready to serve without being tore up. So just this year, January, I registered to be a candidate for a county councilman of Prince George's County in Maryland.
Excellent. Have you met Dan Bongino?
No, I've heard his name a couple of times though, so he's on my list of folks to meet.
Oh yeah, well he is he will very likely be at CPAC. Really great guy. I think he's running. I'm not sure if he's running again. I know he ran for Congress in the last election. He was He was on Obama's Secret Service detail. But I think you guys would definitely hit it off. But wow, what a story you have, and just everything, all of your experiences, everything that you've done, I believe, has prepared you for this. And now at a time when I feel like we're right on the verge of a catastrophic event happening in this country if we don't slam on the brakes and reverse course. And I pray that we, in November, that we get rid of all of these moderates that keep caving in to the pressures from the left. Because, we just keep raising the debt ceiling. We just keep on, we just keep caving in. We have no leadership in Congress right now. We do have some great people. We've got Ted Cruz and we've got Rand Paul, people that are willing to stand for hours on end doing, those filibusters that they did. But we need more people like that. We need people like you. You would fit right in. And so I will definitely be praying for your campaign. And speaking of campaigns, you have a campaign right now for your book tour. You want to let people know where they can go to support that? Sure.
The good news is my motivation and spirits are high. The bad news is I am broke as a $2 bill. But it's okay. I have a GoFundMe campaign going because I really like to go to about 10 different states. People who have heard me and supported me and listened to my show, or maybe never have, but I think I can do some good and with a book signing. And I'm trying to raise money so that my wife and I can go to these 10 states. Folks can meet both of us, and I can kind of speak and do whatever God's planning for me. I kind of feel like I'm right at the middle or at the end of something. There's a huge thing about to happen, and all that stuff can be found at my website at blackmanwithagun.com. You'll find the book. You'll find the GoFundMe thing there. There's even a donation link if you so care.
Okay.
I'm just trying to do what I can.
Awesome. Well,
Go
ahead.
I sound all positive now, but let me tell you, there's some times when I'm just thinking, Lord, are you sure I'm the one? I mean, I'm just me. You know, I don't have a clue. I feel like Forrest Gump half the time. I'm just a feather floating in the air. I don't have no giant goals. Just to do well. That's it. Just to do good, show mercy, and be a Christian. I mean, it's just further than that. I'm just trying to be what He wants me to be. That's all.
Fantastic. We actually have a caller, and we're unfortunately towards the end of our show. We got a few minutes left, but we're going to go ahead and take a call from Boyd, who is all the way from Alaska. Boyd, you're on the air.
Hi, Ken. This is Boyd.
Hey, man.
Hey, I was just curious with everything that you said and how your life and stuff is going and what you're doing. Do you happen to know a gentleman by the name of Gerald Harrison? On Facebook and stuff, he goes by the handle of the Discipled One.
No, not that particularly, but no, I can remember.
Oh, because your stories are just so much alike. I think you got a brother on the
from another mother.
Yeah, brother on the West Coast.
There you go. That's cool. Well, you ought to hook him up and tell your friend about our good Reverend here, and they might have I'm a firm believer that God puts people in our path for a reason, and that even though you've been a member of Big Dogs for a while now, it just the timing of seeing a certain post and leading to reaching out and communicating, and then just things start to happen from there, and it's nice to look back and say, now I know why that person was put in our life, or that kind of thing. I love to look back on those things. And I'm just real glad that you're going to be at CPAC. People are going to absolutely love you. I'm going to make sure that we tell everybody to go and buy your book, get in line to get a book, and we definitely want you to come over to Big Dawg Music Radio at Radio Row. We're going to be on the air 7 to 11, and we'd love to have you jump behind the mic for a bit if you've got the time.
Oh, thank you, Lisa. I love you.
Awesome. Well, it has been an absolute pleasure.
And I can tell you, I watched the first broadcast from CPAC that Lisa did. She will go have somebody put a chokehold on you and drag you over to her.
Hey, I'm not that bad.
Cool.
Hey, I saw that show.
Yeah, that's funny.
Thanks, boy.
All right. Well, again, thank you, Ken. I look forward to meeting you in a few weeks, and good luck with everything, all of your many endeavors, and God bless you for all that you do, and just keep doing it. And more great things will come your way, I have no doubt. So,
back at you.
All right.
God loves you, and so do I.
Awesome. All right. We'll see you in a few. Take care.
All right.
All right, folks. Bye. This was a fascinating chat with a very fascinating and talented Big Dogger. We are very proud to be able to say that he is part of our Big Dawg family. And definitely, if you're going to be at CPAC, there in the CPAC hub, there is a bookstore towards the backside of the hub where all the book signings will take place, and then we'll have a schedule in the program, hopefully on the website soon, that will say what time our good Reverend Blanchard will be doing his book signing. So we're going to go ahead and close out today's show with a song, keeping with the whole God and Gun theme. Mr. Bud Tower wrote a song called God and Guns, which you might recognize because it was recorded by Leonard Skinnard. and became the title track of their CD, God and Guns.
Last night I heard this politician talking about a brand new vision. I liked his plan, but it came undone when he got around to God and guns. I don't know what world he's living in, but everybody ain't your friend. There's folks that hate the life I live, dying just to kill my kids. God and guns keep us strong. That's what this country was founded on. We might as well give up and run. Let them take our God and guns. I was born and raised in the neck of the woods, where God is great and guns are good. You really can't know that much about them if you think we're better off without them. There is a time we ain't forgot. You could rest all night with your doors unlocked, but there ain't nobody safe no more. So you say your prayers and thank the Lord for that peacemaker in your dresser drawer. God and guns keep us strong. That's what this country was founded on. We might as well give up and run if we let them take our God and guns.
And that's going to do it for tonight's edition of Off the Hook here on BigDawg Music Radio. We hope that you've enjoyed the show and look forward to having you join us again next Saturday night, same time, same station, where we'll be chatting with yet another fabulous culture warrior and spinning some more fantastic music by the very talented artists at BigDawgMusicMafia.com. If you don't have any plans, we'd love to have you stick around for our second hour Afterburner, our live listener request show, where you get to pick the songs that we play. Just give us a call at 347-838-8898, and if we have the song, we'll be happy to play it. So until next week, keep your chin up, keep the faith, and keep up the good fight. I'm your host, Lisa May. Good night, Breitbart, wherever you are.